The Nikon FG is an interchangeable lens, 35mm film, single-lens reflex, SLR, camera. It was manufactured by Nippon Kogaku K, Nikon Corporation since 1988. In Japan from 1982 to 1986. The FG was the successor to the Nikon EM camera of 1979 and the predecessor of the Nikon FG-20 of 1984. These three cameras comprised Nikon's first family of ultra-compact 35mm SLR camera bodies. Although the FG had a much less advanced shutter than the more expensive Nikons of the day, it had a very sophisticated electronic design compared to earlier electromechanical Nikons. Features: first Nikon SLR with programmed auto exposure. First Nikon SLR with TTL. Through the lens. Flash exposure control from a standard ISO type hot shoe. Electronically controlled focal plane shutter. Exposure compensation dial. -2 EV to +2 EV. Audio warning system, advises of under or overexposure. Backup mechanical M90 shutter setting enables use of the camera when batteries are drained. Body and design. Body construction. Copper-silumen aluminum alloy body. Polycarbonate exterior. Leatherette. Synthetic. Covering. Metal lens mount. Exposure control and metering. The FG's metering system is controlled by a microcomputer which measures center-weighted brightness, using a sensitive silicon photodiode (SPD) sensor. The metering system performs instant stop-down metering, where the meter reading is taken after the lens is stopped down but before the mirror flips up and the shutter opens. In programmed air mode, the microcomputer calculates stepless aperture, f-stop, and stepless shutter speed using pre-programmed values. In aperture priority air mode, the microcomputer calculates a stepless shutter speed for a given user-selected aperture value. In manual exposure control mode, the user selects both aperture and shutter speed, and the metering system provides a suggested shutter speed, indicated in the viewfinder, for the selected aperture. Viewfinder. The viewfinder consists of a fixed eye-level pentaprism providing a magnification of 0.84x, with a 50mm lens set at infinity and approximately 92% frame coverage. The focusing screen is a standard Nikon K-type screen with clear matte Fresnel field, central split image rangefinder spot, microprism collar and 12mm diameter reference circle. Indicates center-weighted metering area. Displayed on the right side of the viewfinder are a vertical shutter speed scale with LEDs to indicate both the user-selected and camera-suggested shutter speed in M mode, and the value selected P and A modes by the camera's metering system. Triangular warning LEDs at the top and bottom of the shutter speed scale to indicate over or underexposure. A flash-ready light opposite a thunderbolt symbol at the bottom of the shutter speed. Flash exposure control. The FG was also Nippon Kogaku's first amateur-level SLR to have through-the-lens TTL off the film (OTF). Electronic flash automation. However, this technology was first introduced with the Olympus OM2 in 1976. And was also used previously in the Nikon F3 introduced in 1980. TTL-OTF flash exposure control is more precise than previous methods as it measures the flash exposure at the film plane rather than at the flash itself. Correct flash exposure is achieved via a SPD cell at the base of the mirror box, which measures light reflected back from the film plane. The FG can only connect to flashes via the hot shoe connection, as it lacks a PC sync socket. Flashes which do not have a hot shoe can be used with a hot shoe sync cord adapter. Lens compatibility. The FG requires automatic indexing, AI. Nikon lenses for P and A modes to function. Lenses with AI capability include AI and AIS type Nikon lenses and Nikon Series E lenses. The following non-AI and AI converted lenses are not usable with the Nikon FG. Autofocus Nikon lenses, except G-type, will mount correctly but autofocus does not function. Vibration reduction, if fitted, does not function. G-type autofocus lenses lack an aperture ring and do not couple with the indexing ring on the FG. The P mode does not function. The A mode will suggest a shutter speed for the available light. The aperture can be stopped down by slightly unscrewing the lens. DX Nikon lenses will mount correctly, but the reduced image circle does not cover the full 35mm film frame. P and A modes are not available with G-type 510 Nikons. IX, APS format. Lenses extend too far into the camera and may cause damage. The reduced image circle does not cover the full 35mm film frame. Accessories. Motor drives. MF15 databack. Sequential frame count. Sequential frame numbering. Time-a-date stamping on the film. Nikon Speedlights. The FG can be used with any dedicated Nikon Speedlights. Flashes, which support TTL flash exposure, and any non-dedicated flash units in either automatic or manual modes. Dedicated, hot shoe-mounted Nikon Speedlights available during the time the FG was manufactured were the SBE, SB15, SB16B, SB18 and SB19. Background and design history. The 1970s and 1980s were an era of intense competition between the major SLR brands, Nikon, Canon, Minolta, Pentax and Olympus. This was in part a result of rapid advances in electronics at the time, which allowed new cameras to be released more frequently and with more automated features than had been possible previously. Between c. 1975 to 1985, there was a dramatic shift away from heavy all-metal manual mechanical camera bodies to much more compact bodies with integrated circuit (IC) electronic automation. As a result of the manufacturing climate of the time, the M and subsequent FG and FG-20 were released with much lower price points and more compact and user-friendly bodies than previous Nikons. To appeal to the amateur photographer market, the FG was intended to improve on the shortcomings of the M, which had no manual override, and to compete with other programmed SLRs of the time, such as the Canon Air 1 program, released 1981, the Minolta X700, released 1981, or the Pentax Super program. In the USA, Canada, Super A, rest of the world, 1983. Market reception. The FG was well received by many amateur photographers, but was criticized by others due to the lower build quality and reliability when compared to other Nikons of the same era. The FG has known reliability issues, particularly with its shutter components and ICs, compared to Nikon M and FG-20. The major improvements of the FG compared to the M were improved exterior cosmetics, internal printed circuit electronics, the addition of the manual exposure and programmed auto exposure modes, and provision for TTL flash automation. The FG-20 is a simplified version of the Nikon FG, with no programmed air mode, no TTL OTF flash, and no exposure control, but retaining aperture priority air, a manual and auto flash exposure control. Anonymous. Modern tests. Nikon FG. TTL flash icing on the cake pp 86 to 92. 134. Modern Photography. Volume 47. Number 1. January 1983. Anonymous. Nikon FG advertisement. It's now possible for people who've only admired great pictures to take them. p23. Modern Photography. Volume 47. Number 7. July 1983. Peterson, B. Moose. Magic Lantern Guides. Nikon Classic Cameras. Volume 2. F2. FM. M. FG. N2000. F301. N2020. F501. L Series. First edition. Magic Lantern Guides. Rochester, NY. Silver Pixel Press. 1996. ISBN 1-883403-383. Stafford, Simon and Rudy Hillebrand and Hans Joachim Hauschild. The New Nikon Compendium. Cameras, Lenses and Accessories since 1917. 2004 updated North American edition. Asheville, NC. Lark Books. 2003. ISBN 1-57990-592-7. Nikon FG information page at mir.com. My Nikon FG information page from Nikon Corp Online Archives. Instruction Manual. Color. At Orphan Cameras.